The 7 guaranteed steps to spiritual, family, and financial success guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They are using them. The blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. What a pleasure to be back with you today on this fine Tuesday. What happened to Monday? It's okay. Just, look, let me just tell you all, take care of yourselves, okay? Make sure keep your health up and nice. But look, I'm back with you today on this fine Tuesday, and it is an absolute pleasure to be back. Got a bit of a show for you. There's news to get into, but I'm going to start it off with this thing here. About the Super Bowl. You might have seen this clip on Jesse's show. And Derek explaining it, and it just came to me, okay? I want to talk about it a little briefly. We will get into the information and the news and all the stuffs, okay? But something else was mentioned I had to comment on as well. I saw that stuff with the Democratic, who's going to lead the DNC, and it's basically black women holding the DNC and white people hostage. It's a hostage situation, and they're fine with it. They welcome it. They love lies. And this is whites and others. They love lies. They welcome it. People love to be lied to. They can't wait to adopt a new belief Just make it believable, please. Just do me one favor. When you lie to me, make it a little bit believable so that when I tell my friends I don't look too stupid. We're going to get into it all. And there's the stuff with RFK. There was an interesting moment. RFK, Trump defending him, and all this talk about autism. Maybe I have the tism. My mom vaccinated me. But I don't know anything about that. Look, I don't know anything about that. There's plenty to get into. Then we'll get into the news, the tariffs. You might find my commentary on it just a little interesting if you're itching for some politicking and news. We'll get to it eventually. But it's a pleasure to be back here. You could call me if you have something on your mind, something you want to get off your chest, anything you want to talk about, 888-775-3773. I'm the anchor, baby. I am at your service. My body is a living sacrifice for the audience. Maybe one day for God. But like it says in the Bible. But I'm here for you. You could call me, 888-775-3773. I see you all in the chat. Thank you. Welcome back. How you doing, everybody? So what else did I want to say before we get going here? Besides, you're a bunch of rude people who were obviously raised in a home of no consequences because you just walk in anywhere you want willy-nilly. You don't even click the like button. I'm going to tell your mama that not only were you too afraid to go and forgive her, you didn't even take on some of her manners that she tried to teach you and impose her will on you. You didn't even do that. So, look, show some decorum. Click the like button on your way in. Don't be rude. And what else did I want to say here? Look, I'm live on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola. And so appreciate you all tuning in here. Look, I see you all. A pleasure to have you here. And that's all of our housekeeping, okay? I think that's all of our housekeeping. 888-775-3773. You know, they put this, before we get into all the news and all that, I wanted to get into this. So give me a second while I edit the Rumble title, because it has to have the same title, okay? It has to have the same title so that even the Rumble viewers know what's up. At least they can see the title, comment, wonder what today's show is about. You know what's a little hack for you? You could pretty much write pretty offensive titles. The hack is you put a little question mark. And then you just never know. What am I getting at? It's like, women are evil. Or, women are evil? I don't know. Tune in to find out. So, welcome, everybody. I wanted to play this for you because they have this video going around. And it's Snoop Dogg, Tom Brady. Is this normal? Do commercials for a Super Bowl, and I could be wrong, this may not even have to do anything with the Super Bowl, but Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady are in some commercial, okay? You may have seen it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady. Robert Kraft shares new anti-Semitism ad with Tom Brady and Snoop Dogg, says this article from People. But I'm a little confused, considering that I don't know if it's fair to call this an ad against anti-Semitism. Okay? Give me one moment while I show you this. It's from People. The website says Robert Kraft, a name that that rings a bell to me. I've heard that name before. Can't tell you who it is. But he shares a new anti-Semitism ad with Tom Brady and Snoop Dogg. Really worried about our country. Oh. And so I guess that's Robert Kraft right there. There's Tom Brady. That's an ad. Snoop Dogg. All people that I think are known. Robert Kraft's foundation to combat anti-Semitism released a new commercial. Okay, so that's his foundation. I'm gathering from People. So, that's probably where I know him from. He's the CEO of the Patriots. Is that true? Robert Kraft. Patriots. He owns that team or something? That's where I know that name. He has owned the New England Patriots since 1994. Imagine that. There you go, Robert Kraft. So they got a little ad going around, and people calls it an anti-Semitism ad. But let me play it for you. Tell me what you think. Is that really fair to call it? Because we're gonna be. Look, I like being a little accurate. I like being fair, and I can bandwagon with y'all. Yeah, sure, I can bandwagon with the best of them. Hey, isms, bro. Anti-Semitism. Really, you're gonna hit me with anti-Semitism, racism? Don't you know there are no isms? Don't you know that's when you qualify hate, you create more hate? I'm there. But before you get all crazy, look, let's play the game of accuracy. Is this really an ad on anti-Semitism, or is this just funded by some people who don't like anti-Semitism? Call it nitpicking if you like. I don't know. Jeez. Don't get mad at me.
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
Whoa. I hate you because you look different.
I hate you because I don't understand you.
I hate you because people I know hate you.
I hate you because I think you hate me.
Because I need someone to blame.
Because you talk different.
Because you act different.
Because you're just different.
Weirdo. You're so different. The reasons for hate are as stupid as they sound.
Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Me too.
Man, things are so bad, Tom. I'm Snoop Dogg, Tom. And you're Tom Brady, man. And you and I, we're just actors, bro. And it's crazy the world is so... Not us. No, not us. Not us. But, man, Tom Brady, bro. And the world is so crazy, man. It's crazy we have to be actors and make this ad for all these people, these haters out here in this world, right? Not us, though. No, not me and you. We're just actors. We're just actors standing up to hate. And you see at the end here, it says, stand up to all hate, hashtag, standuptoallhate.org, paid for by Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. Now, again, call me a nitpicker. I would say watch your language, sir. You don't use a hard R. You could call me a nitpicker, maybe a nitpicker, but that's our word. But call me a nitpicker. But, hey, is that ad really about anti-Semitism? It sounds like it's like hate. Like Jesse said. It sounds like some pretty regular, pretty regular hate. You know what hate is, right? You don't look at me like that, like you don't know what hate is, right? So this foundation put this out. I got to say, that's kind of a nice message, don't you think? At least in their description of hate. I hate you because you're different. I hate you because people around me hate you. I hate you. It's like, I didn't know they had it in them. The Anti-Semitism Foundation talking about hate in a fair way. I didn't know you had it in you. Hey, right on. Jews? No. People against anti-Semitism. Robert Kraft. Let's summarize. Let's just say Robert Kraft. Right on, Robert Kraft. And I thought, sincerely, I'm messing around, but that is a sincere description of hate. You'd be a fool to see it otherwise, I think. So I sincerely like their message, but allow me to get into kind of what I was trying to say about it, too. That if you're anyone who believes, you're watching this ad, you really believe what they're saying, that you want to stop all hate, that you... That hate is how they described it because you're different. I was taught this hate. If you really believe what they were saying in that video, you would wake up. You would wake up and see that that calling things anti-Semitic, for example, is hateful. It's actually quite judgmental. You're using an expression that betrays the message in the video. A nice video I liked. They put out trying to combat the hate. And again, I don't think they were saying anything about anti-Semitism in the video, so the message isn't destroyed. But if this foundation believes in anti-Semitism, and they believe this, they look at this video and think it's great, they would drop all isms. They would drop any of these expressions. What happens when you use these expressions, isms? There's an interesting mind trick that happens to the public and to those using and hearing these words. And in this case, for example, it's anti-Semitism. When someone hears anti-Semitism. Let's say this ad was a little bit different and they were like, we're going to stop it was more overtly about anti-Semitism. The audience would be hearing this, and what happens is these words, these isms like racism, it actually has a strange effect of absolving the person using and hearing the terms. You know, it's interesting. It's like the effect is like a false salvation. See, the thing is, all hearts are wicked, right? All hearts are wicked until you're born again, you know. But everyone I know is motivated by selfishness, okay? Like, the heart is wicked. Everyone I know. And the common individual hears these charges of isms. What I mean by even common individual, everybody hears these charges and claims of isms, racisms, etc., and they become hypnotized. In that moment, their mind, you know, in their mind, they play God and they judge and they say, that's anti-Semitic, that's racist. You choose what is evil, who's evil, and in that very moment, you absolve, and you may not even notice it because you're all excited. But in that moment, you've absolved yourself of sin. You've absolved that's anti-Semitic. And in that moment, it's like sacrificing a calf. All this like sin comes out of you, and now you put it in this person, and then you sacrifice them. You say, that's anti-Semitic. That's racist. That's a racist person. That's a racist act. It's like sacrificing a cow or something. But it's not real. Okay? And so you absolve yourself by simply even hearing this word. And it's a false salvation of the intellect. You understand? It's like, that's evil. That's what judgment is. That is like exactly what judgment is, which I find fascinating. It's a false salvation everyone turns to. It's the reason why the world is so messed up. You know, we want to sit around talking about politics and like what's going on here. The reason the world is messed up is because you judge. Because I judge. Fine, I'll point at myself. It's Satan's foothold in the world, if you will. It's because of us, man. Don't you get it? Not anti-Semitism. So I thought the video was a great message. I think the People magazine inaccurately reported on this. I don't think it was an ad on anti-Semitism. It was an ad on how everybody's hateful. So funded by the Foundation Against Anti-Semitism. So, yeah, what else about this? That was what I was thinking about a little bit before we get to something else here. Snoop and Brady. What else do I want to say about this? Just the false salvation of the intellect. I hope you see that connection between the intellect, words, knowledge, the darkness of the knowledge, and how it's a false salvation. Huh? You know what I'm saying, Bill? You know what I'm saying. So anyways, I hope you see that. 888-775-3773, a little Super Bowl versus the anti-Semitism. And you can't say that. It's anti-Semitism. Bill. So, he's looking at me like, I'm going to leave. I'm just going to leave right now before I get even further confused by the anchor baby. Okay, so I wanted to move on a little bit here. Where is it? Let me see if I can pull it up because the clips were interesting. The clips were, how do you say, thrilling. And some of you require a thrill, no? I hope I find it, but basically they're choosing who's going to lead the DNC, okay? It's not looking good. It's not looking good. They're asking the white male who is what's his name? Ken? The new DNC chair alongside David Hogue or Hogg. I heard a news report today that calls him David Hogue. You know, he's the guy who was one of the survivors, they say, of some shooting out of school, and he became a big activist against the guns and all that. He's now David Hogg becomes, I'm calling him David Hogg, okay? It's H-O-G-G. You're going to tell me I can't call him the Hogg? You're going to tell me I can't call someone with the last name H-O-G-G Hogg? the Hog. What's up, Hog? What's up, Haas? Anyways, DNC vice chair. The chair is Ken Martin, and you see him. You saw him on the JLP show. Asked about. You saw all these candidates to run for this position, being asked about racism, or what was it? What was it? They were, will you commit? Will you commit to bringing in a transgender? Blah blah blah. It's incredible the hostage situation going on here, and it's like let's remember I'm saying hostage situation tongue in cheek in this situation because I'm not giving any of these people what's it called like leeway for their victimhood or something like that. Like they're just victims of the blacks. No, they're like happy to be in this hostage situation. They're gleefully raising their hands to their stupid questions.
And we'll begin with the opening statements. Each candidate will have...
Oh, yeah, the opening statements. That one lady started singing.
Chair, and I just want to give you all a little bit of something that's been on my heart.
Dr. Quintessa Hathaway.
Here over the last couple of days.
Quintessa.
You fight on, you fight on. You fight on, you fight on.
Wow.
When you're...
Wow. Incredible. It's incredible. And what was the one, that one question? And if you remember, you saw it. Let's not spend too much time here. Bada bing, here it is. We got the footage. Roll that beautiful beam footage. Every single candidate for DNC chair just blamed their loss in 2024 on racism and misogyny.
I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay. So,
I mean, that is such a charge in and of itself, where they would all raise their hand like this. You gotta wonder at this point, at these heights, when Donald Trump has made racism okay by executive order, that's a joke. I'm kidding. At these heights of this year, the current year, I wonder what they really think. How each of those people, what they really think. If this was nothing more than a mere hand raised to, of course racism exists, or do they really go all the way and believe Kamala Harris, it was just racism and misogyny? I think they were asked if it had a part to play in it.
Racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat.
So the question was played a role. So if in the spirit of being accurate, I'll leave it at that, to be fair. They said they were just asked if he played a role, but to believe such a thing, to believe these isms, like I said, they can't be thinking too clearly or too deeply on this at all. I gotta say. So I'm bringing this up. Why am I bringing this up? Because it was brought up on the JLP show, and it's like, I wrote this down. It's like, am I the guy to even talk about this? Who cares? I feel like I have something to say about this. And you may have heard Jesse, you've heard this a little bit. Are the blacks cursed? Are black people cursed? Was it really Shem? Who was it? Who did they come down from the Bible? Not Japheth. Ham? A ham sandwich? Where do they come from? Should I ask ChatGPT, where do blacks come from in the Bible? Is it gonna get mad at me? ChatGPT, you know me by now. ChatGPT, you know me by now. I don't mean no harm. The Bible does not explicitly categorize people by modern racial concepts, but ChatGPT also heard that Ham and his descendants are traditionally associated with Africa. Ham sandwich. Shout out to that young individual from that video, if you know what I'm talking about. I wonder how old he is now. Are they cursed? And I was just thinking about it a little bit, like, to answer such a question, at these heights, with post George Floyd, with with people's like not caring about some of this grievance, with millions of people unfollowing Selena Gomez after she was like, my people are getting abused because of ICE is deporting criminals and illegals, all that. At these heights where it seems like it's decades, it seems like it's our lifetimes for some of us, going back even farther for others, decades and maybe more. Some wonder, I've heard this out there. Wow, how is it like that even countries over around the world, some of them are pretty messed up. Like, didn't they send the slaves out there to have their own country? They're like, okay. Slavery and all that. Sorry. You guys want your own country? And then they ruined that too? Is it Liberia? One of them countries, okay? I've heard it asked. It's like, it seems like cursed. It's cursed. And I'll tell you this. At the moment, I was thinking about American blacks. And I thought about Booker T. Washington, about the few little factoids I learned recently through the shows. I think it was Hake Report. I remember I've cracked into Up From Slavery. One of those things I mean to finish. But I thought about Booker T, for example. He was like, because here's what I thought about. To summarize, basically. Because at these heights with, like I was just describing, it seems like it's problems everywhere. It seems like now is the time that more people would be more likely to think, of course they are cursed. They have like some like supernatural curse, like from above, or this is ancient or something, right? Because it feels like more people are willing to maybe even say such a thing when you just look at how long there's been conflict in some of these communities, etc. Are you following me a little bit here? It feels like now would be the time to lean into that. For like, I hear it, I see it. It's like people online, you know how it is online. That people love talk about theories and all that. And they're like, yeah, they're cursed or something. But I don't think people really give enough of a chance to just reflect and consider the really truly toxic effects of blaming. I mean, it's like, what? Have you heard this already? I'm sure, but look, I'm trying to put it how I saw it. I thought it was so real that even from Booker T's days, right away, it's like they got freed, and right away they were like, put us in Congress and no, they were activists even back then. Do you remember this? I don't know if you remember this. I think it was on JLP's show. I mentioned it on mine. I showed you a little thing about it. But Booker T was, and I'm told now at this point I'm paraphrasing a little, but Booker T was struck at how blacks were trying to basically be activists and have a place in politics and all this, and he's just like, whoa, pump the brakes. Start where you are, cast your buckets down, he said. Work on yourselves. Can you imagine that it's been hate, blame, and victimhood since then for decades? You don't think that it's quite possible, if not even likely, that a whole people can stay stuck in a position for decades, centuries, from just a simple little thing called hate, blame, and victimhood? You know what I mean? Talk about a curse. Talk about a real curse, you know? It's been decades. It's like, now, don't you see how can't you see right now, even people, intellectuals even, or whatever, coming up with all sorts of theories, getting desperate. And it's like, well, no, at this point, it's like, it has to be cursed. But no, there's no other way has been tried. The other way hasn't even been tried for decades. It's my impression. In any way, shape, or form, it's just been blaming, sanctioned by the government, all the way to the top. Corporations, blaming. And it continues to this day. You know what I mean? Tell me I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. It seems so clear. It seems so obvious. So it seems, and I see people, right-wing people, conservatives, and now maybe because time is passing, and it's like, well, how long are they going to stay cursed? And then they get mad. Now they're getting frustrated, or their younger generations are getting frustrated and actually mad from the things that their parents were unable to deal with correctly. And what do? You get people coming up with all sorts of theories. They're cursed in a way that we're not cursed. They're evil. They got something in a way that we're not. Right, Tom Brady? I'm Snoop Dogg. We're stopping all hate. It sucks that we got to do a commercial on this. But me and you, we're fine, right? It's these hateful people we got to make the commercial for. Meanwhile, everybody's evil. It's like the judgment and threshold I'm talking about, if you've been following it all, is like everybody. So, that's my spiel on that. Shame on them for wanting representation. Laughing, crying face emoji, laughing, crying face emoji. Is that supposed to be like a smart response or something? Who's this person? That doesn't even make sense. I'm talking about, oh, I get it now. This person in my chat is responding to me bringing up Booker T and the black people at that time. But you're totally discounting what I said about what Booker T said about cast your bucket. You're like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all. What a mess. So I was just thinking about that a little bit. Because these are egregious clips. This is bad. This is bad. Like country in a bad spot bad. Like, here it is. Oh, this one was crazy.
Hello, Democrats. Hey, I am speaking, and I would love your attention. There is a black woman at this podium, and I deserve your attention like the...
She hates everybody in that room.
11 people who went before me. Yes.
Imagine someone interrupting her right there. Right there. There's a black... Hey!
Your attention. There is a...
Or no, not even like aggressively, just like aloof, like some... just like not even pay attention, just walk past her or something. She would set that building on fire.
Black woman at this podium, and I deserve your attention. Like
it's not even cute.
The 11 people who went before me. Yes, I am speaking.
Good evening, Democrats. Look up here. 3 strong black women.
Oh, she wasn't the only one. Hold on. Hold. More beautiful beam footage just come in.
Standing before you. 3 black women who, rather than just grabbing a chair, ran for chair.
Te quiero mucho, papá. Gracias por todo.
Artie, who's mama? Mama, no.
Chair.
Te quiero mucho, papá. Gracias por todo. My name is Artie Blanco.
Oh my gosh.
Brady Blanco's daughter. Vote for me for vice chair.
Look at this.
You can't vote for something like that. You just can't. That's just that right there, that emotional this outburst. Someone went, there was a white guy who like made a weird like sound once. He was like, woo! And that cost him his career. You're telling me Artie Blanco, who maybe has her dad, who she mentioned in her. My name is Artie Blanco, Freddie, who ate Freddie Blanco. Artie Blanco ate Freddie Blanco. You're gonna tell me that this isn't gonna end her career? There was that one guy. Who am I talking about? Who was that one guy? He was like he was running for some Republican thing, and he went, "Wow, Howard Dean," and it was just too much. It was almost like this a little too much, and you can look at that video and think, people overreacted. But I'll tell you this, you'll never see Trump making such a sound. Trump has a little bit more control over himself. Democrat Howard Dean, not a Republican. Shall we watch a little bit more? I have calls coming in, 888-775-3773. I want to get right to you. Let's just finish up some of this footage. We got more stuff to get into today.
Yes, por todo. My name is Artie Blanco, Freddie Blanco's daughter. Vote for me for vice chair.
Look at this room.
It was low-hanging fruit, okay? I was on the spot, okay? And appearance is the easiest thing to do.
Truly take it in. This is the Democratic Party. We are our strongest when we stand together.
We are in a time in this.
There's all this. Look, I'm laughing too because I just thought about the criticisms of the Republicans, and they're fair. And there's people right now who they're criticizing. The right wing has, internal conflicts, and they've been having them a lot lately. And there's a general vibe I get from right wing people that say they hate that. They hate it. And I personally I don't think I'm not saying it's good, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think it's free men talking. If you notice, the right wing, they at least really do, or at least posture that they care about some semblance of the truth or facts or whatever. So they do their best to duke it out, and I think it's fine. And so there was a lot of criticisms coming up to, remember the RNC? They brought up like some person talking about Waheguru, the spirit of Waheguru or something. It's like when you watch this, not to like as a cop out, like, oh, you can't criticize the Republicans. It's like, but when you watch this, you're just like, okay, it makes you like kind of drop all those criticisms, at least for a little bit, and realize at least we're not this, which is probably evil in and of itself.
This country, when our democracy and our rights are under attack. We're at a time where black and brown people, women, and other minorities are being blamed for everything that's wrong with this country.
So let's fight together for a stronger and more inclusive.
Oh, gosh, you get it, right? Good afternoon.
Let me say something.
Okay.
Over the last several days, we've seen what happens when we have the wrong people in powerful places.
You mean the last 2 weeks in a day that everything Trump said he does? For years, left and right, Democrat, Republican are like, oh, I don't know. It's just, it's a long process. It's just a difficult thing. And Trump, 2 weeks and 1 day, is already doing a whole bunch. Is that what you mean by powerful people?
And so today, I ask for your support.
Whoa. Chat, folks, audience, ladies and gentlemen, I asked you to look at your screen as you can see the captions. Who wrote the captions for this? Is this a DNC edited video? Someone did her wrong. Because she's clearly saying, I ask for your support, right? Who wrote this? Some right-wing operative obviously made the captions for this, right? I ask for your support? What's going on?
People in powerful places. And so today, I ask for your support.
Come on. You're ridiculous, whoever wrote that. I'm just trying to stand up for you, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. And you honestly get it. People love people. Not only is the heart wicked, and all sorts of people are, they go on stage and they say that they are loving and they are here to fight for you, but and all their audience is hypnotized and thinking they're just saying normal things when they're talking about hate. They're blaming someone else for your problems. That's pure hate, as hateful as it gets. So not only is that happening, but you have the people that love lies. People love lies. So you got this audience who actually loves hearing this. That Kamala only lost because of misogyny and racism. People love lies, and they can't wait to hear them. It's why you got to pay attention to yourself and work on you. Like, what's going on with you? What lies do you believe? Here's a little clue. If you're blaming, if you're hating, if you feel strongly about somebody else, if you can't stop thinking about somebody else, those are some of your clues that you're believing lies, that you're in your head. Just a little clues. But what else about this? You get it. People love lies. The lies are up there. Let's get to calls. 888-775-3773. I have David out of Ocala, Florida. Give me 1 second while I unmute you. David, you're on the air. Appreciate your call.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Hey, I wanted to tell you, it's bad women like...
Can I stop you right there? David, hold up. You're a first-time caller on my show. I've always recognized your voice. I don't know if I've ever talked to you.
First time
Very
caller
cool.
on the show, man.
Well, it's a pleasure. Go ahead.
Yeah, them bad women, man, they done ruined our country, buddy, like them. The women you just showed.
Yes.
And one of the greatest things about Trump being president is that it's okay to be a white male again.
Yeah. It's by executive order, I heard. That's also a joke. I don't want to put out bad misinformation, but can I say I almost want to nitpick your statement because I don't disagree with you. I'm not trying to fight you here, sir. But I almost want to nitpick, hey, It was always okay to be a white male.
Not the last 4 years or when
I know what you're
Obama
getting
was
at.
in.
I know what you're getting at, but you can't let the world put such a thing in anyone's head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you, but they seemed like they had power. You follow what I'm saying? It talked
I'm
down
following
to
what you're
men
saying.
and
Keep
treat-
going.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about. I'm saying, when you went out to the store and stuff like, just the way, they just the those women that were looking down on us. Not all women, but and the Democrats, they hate white people. I mean, they might put Biden in the office and all that, put him in office, and then they had Obama. But the bottom line is they hate white people. Okay.
Yeah.
And more white people died for this country than any race ever for us to have freedom.
Yeah. I think I get what you're saying, man. I mean, I gather what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
And then, but
Now,
isn't it crazy that so many white people died? So for the white people today to go around saying we're not allowed to be white, and again, I'm not discounting. I'm not even pointing that to you because you made your point very clear. It's like it's sanctioned. It's no one bats an eye, and they talk about like dripping hate out of their mouths about white people. Following you, but I almost want to add to what you're talking about because you said all these white people died. Isn't it crazy? All these white people died for the white people today to say such a thing. Like it's like the people who say we're not allowed to have free speech, but the truth is, not even a government can take away your free speech. In a sense, they could put you in jail, but they can't take that away. Are you following me here, or am I nitpicking too much?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you don't got the right to come up to me and tell me that me and my girl need to bow to you because you're black and I'm white.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
and
crazy.
What
man.
happened to your relatives when? Listen, man, I didn't think like this when I was younger, but all of a sudden I wised up one day and I thought to myself, now there's no way white people went over there and stole them people off of Africa. They got sold. And
fair and square, it was business.
Their own people, and these blacks need to just face it. And I'm going to prove it to you. P. Diddy would sell a brother in a New York second.
You said, wait, say that again. What did you just say?
I'm saying a person like P. Diddy, okay, would sell another brother in a New York minute if he was back in Africa back in 1600s. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I grew up around.
And what's a person like P. Diddy?
A crazy black man. Okay.
I see.
I've seen him. Listen, I've seen black people go from 0 to 10 in 2 seconds, anger-wise. I've rarely seen a few white people like that, but I've seen many black men just turn very angry, like you saw P. Diddy doing. And those are the kind of people that they're just not right in the head, man.
I agree with your statement on. You said you were just directionally. I agree with what you were saying about. I don't quite see white people acting in such a certain way, and there's something to be said about civility and the way they act. But let me say this: like when it, like on the, how do I put this? You're describing like a really extreme scenario where would you sacrifice yourself, or would you go with, or would you enrich yourself at the expense of someone else? And when you bring up something like that, that's everybody, man. That's literally everybody. I can't think of a.
I'm saying a few men. Okay, I'm not saying all black men would do that.
Your description of the behaviors is very true. Your description of their behaviors is absolutely accurate.
Well, how about this?
But an extreme scenario where you would have to pick between sacrificing yourself or enriching yourself, come on, man, that's like everybody.
Well, what I mean is the low percentage, like. Don King, the promoter, the boxing promoter.
Yeah, with the hair? I don't know him that well. Or
he's selling. If he was back then, he would have sold them like there was no tomorrow, man. Okay, so I'm just sick of all my life I've been hearing about it. Like, watch this. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
That's like the Mexicans. Oh, that's like the Mexicans. We didn't cross the border crossed us.
Hey, that's okay,
y'all should be grateful that the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo made you guys Americans. Come on.
Listen, I don't got a problem, man, with people coming over here and trying to better their life and doing it legal and all that. But listen, There ain't nobody in their right mind that can tell me it's okay for our government to spend $66 million on illegal immigrants and $66 billion on illegal immigrants and then $3 billion on our vets. Okay, I'm out.
What a mess, man.
You know?
What did you hear me? What I was saying earlier about the blacks being cursed?
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up.
What are your thoughts?
There's a big disagreement about what Ham did to Noah, and some people think he got to him. Okay, and others believe that he might have got his wife. So that's why they cursed. Okay, not that he just.
So
saw
you
him
think they're
naked
cursed?
and blah blah blah.
Did you hear what I said about it?
What'd you say again?
That it's more that as the years go on, I can see how the conditions make it almost ripe for most people to probably think that they must have some kind of biblical curse. But I feel like those people are maybe are choosing to be a little ignorant because don't you think that what do you think is more powerful? Something like you read about in a book, or literally the decades of hate and anger and victimhood, straight up victimhood. You don't think a whole people can even seem biblically cursed for decades from a simple thing called hating and blaming someone else for your problems? It doesn't even need to be a biblical curse like that.
Well, that's the easy way out, man.
The easy way out is calling it a biblical curse, in my opinion.
Well, no, I'm talking about for them. Okay, for them to say it's all Whitey's fault. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
that's their easy
absolutely.
way out, okay,
100%.
I've been dealing with this since the first grade when I got called a cracker. I mean, I've told hate that before, okay, but I've had some really great black friends in my life that love me. I love them, okay. And I've had some bad, relationships with black people or whatever. But the ones that there's not all blacks are like that. Okay, I'd say about probably 50% of them are that way. Are like angry at whites.
Fair enough. No,
Yeah.
fair enough.
One
Yeah,
more-
I've heard it before, and I don't know if people really take that in. What I'm trying to say here is I've only heard stuff like this anecdotally, but I don't know if. People may see like the stories of the hood or ghettos and like, or this or that shooting or whatever, and they'll think, oh, these cities and it's like bad areas. I don't know. Some people live a lot closer to them, and it's not exactly like LA or anything. It's somewhere else. People that people aren't really used to seeing in the news, and it's like a lot closer to how some of these people say it's pretty bad, and it's. So it doesn't get talked about, it gets discounted very easily. So I'll say that. I don't really know, but I hear you, man.
They fueled it up in the 60s and everything like that, man. I mean, when I was in school, man, them black kids would fight you just to fight you because they hated you because you were white. Okay, that's down here. But anyway, one thing I want to say, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks.
Move on.
I was about to say.
You got something. Yeah, you got vaccines on there. That RFK Jr. is right about them vaccines. We got a niece in our family. She was fine until she was 3 years old and went in and got some vaccines, and she ain't never been the same. Okay. So,
wow, like totally different, like, or what?
Yeah,
I don't mean to ask to. Don't say what you can't say, but you're saying like serious physiological changes.
Serious, yes.
Okay.
And she went from being able to talk to where she couldn't talk, and was drooling and stuff, and. Part of it turned out to be she was gluten intolerant, too. A lot of those kids are gluten intolerant, okay, also besides whatever's going on in them. And that helped her out once they got her off gluten to where, but she's about half right, okay, 60% right. And it's because of the shots they gave her. Do you realize that right now if you have a baby in a hospital, they give them a hepatitis B shot right off the bat?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's what they're trying to stop.
And why is that ridiculous? Because I don't personally know about these things.
The odds of you getting hepatitis B as a little baby is like ridiculous. I mean, when you're older, yeah, but you just don't give up. It's the money. Jim Carrey and his wife were on. I forget the guy's name. He died. Larry King Live. 28 vaccines before their child was like freaking, I think, 16 years old. Okay. And they're out. That's ridiculous to do this to these kids. And now it's all out. It's just all about the cash, buddy. It's all about the cash. It is.
When you say something like that, it definitely makes me think, this medical industry, the money going around, and the level of real professionals, I don't see it there. It's just like the real doctors are, from what I hear, and I got this from someone a little close in the industry, so to speak. Maybe this is not true. You tell me what you think, but it seems like the doctors are these people with the money telling the doctors what to give people. And
yeah, they're getting kickbacks. They're getting most of their.
That's what's called
traffic,
kickbacks. I recently went to a doctor, and I mentioned stuff, pharmaceutical stuff that I know about from being a kid, and this person looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "This is a basic drug for someone with this, and you're telling me you have no clue what I'm talking about?" I don't know if it's bad medicine and people, their level of expertise just gets worse and worse. The threshold needed to be one to be a doctor. I don't know what it is, but I got to say, this money thing, what you talk about, interesting. David, man, last thing you want to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing. I saw this interview, them interviewing the black guy that was the head of the FAA, and he couldn't answer one question that any mediocre pilot asked him, and they had him on as the head of the FAA. It's ridiculous, okay? And just because you have a certain skin color does not mean that you're smart, right? Okay? So that's, it's just ridiculous to put somebody in a position just because the color of their skin. You got what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Understood.
And I think it's over now. I think people have seen this. The legacy media is over. People like y'all, other podcasters and everything like that have put these people in their place, and nobody's buying their junk no more.
I hope so, man. That would be an interesting development. I think it would be a net positive. It'll make things just a little bit better. Appreciate it, David. Call me again, man.
Hey, all right, man. Take care, and y'all be nice in the chat, okay? See you later.
Play nice. Okay, David, thanks.
Right. Bye.
888-775-3773, rude people. Am I hearing rudeness? Is there rudeness in the chat? Don't you know it's the snake pit? If you're not ready for the snake pit, don't jump into the snake pit. Just sit back and enjoy the show. You can leave a comment under the video. You can leave a like. It all helps. It tickles the algorithm and tells them you like me. And this is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So do it. Click the like, leave a comment, and if you're brave, jump into the snake pit. It is the year of the snake. In fact, I'm reading the snake pit now. Imperfect Citizen, nice to see you in the chat, says the Hep B vax is typically given to children of sexually active mothers. I've heard this, and I can't confirm it. I don't know the info, but I've heard this, and it would track with why they would give such a young, like a baby, the Hep B. Because the mother, I guess, can't, she's just looking for love and can't stop looking for love. So you got to give, I guess that's medicine too. Take in, and someone maybe in the medical world can maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but it's my impression that that constantly I see this. Medicine is typically just like, at the end of the conveyor belt, where the symptoms are starting, trying to work backwards, and instead of dealing with root causes and stuff like that. And my personal theory on that is just there's been a separation from, how do I put this? To summarize my theory on this is basically men are not around anymore. And men from the older men I know, and just from paying attention, I can tell that the way men when men kind of were running things more, a doctor wouldn't feel like it's not my place to tell you something about you that you're doing wrong. And now there's been such a legalistic separation of all these things, which is so female. It's just so feminine. It's like, that's against the policy. And, we got in trouble last time we did this policy. It's like when men were around, I heard that the men doctors would tell mothers that it wasn't autism, that you're raising your kid wrong. It's something I heard. Tell me what you think. But I feel like it's my impression of the medical world. They're really just on the back foot, dealing with symptoms, dealing with, not to say you can't listen to one and go and get some proper help. Don't. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying my impression. And before I move on, you know, David brought up RFK and the autism and stuff. I got something for you interesting here. But first, I want to get to Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. How you doing, Maze? A pleasure to have you here.
Hello, Nick.
How you been, Maze?
I've been marvelous as always.
I'm glad to hear it.
Doing great things and still having fun and all of the things that I've done since I've been here on this earth. But Dave O'Callaghan, I'm glad he realized that he was a white man. He didn't know that.
You saying David didn't know he was a white man?
He was ashamed to be what he is. That made no sense at all.
Oh, when he said that you weren't, that now you're allowed to be a white male?
Yes.
And what do you mean by this?
That's what I'm saying. When did they stop and wasn't allowed? Ever since the Constitution came about, they've been white men. So what is he talking about?
I'm laughing because there's a part of me. Go on.
Let me finish, Nick. He's mad because the one man, Barack Obama, was president. Why is he so upset unless there's something wrong with his psyche up there? It says we the people. So if we the people, one out of all the ones that's been president, and only one made it, something's wrong somewhere. All of the men that he can look at look just like him, except that one. No, two, because John Hanson was before any of the other ones. But I'm saying, just that one man to look at it, he hate. You know, the truth stands by itself and a lie will travel. And all of the lies that travel. That's what you hear in 2025. Why did he say it's good to be white? So do we want to be like his ancestors and be like that and step way back in those years? This is 2025. It's we the people now. But you got some that want to rule other people, tell them how to live, tell them what to do, and go say, Sean's Diddy Kong did not will sell his people. He'll sell his too. They done sold the country out. So what do he got to say about it?
I said that already.
What?
Thanks for having. Yeah, thanks, Maze. I already said some of that.
He don't
but
understand.
Hold up, may I?
If he read and stuff, he will understand his history and the history that was done to people. We don't have to just because and when we were being cursed, that book that he was just telling you about, Ham, that's his book. That's not our book. That's not a book about the people that they think was cursed. Because cursed people don't look at and can tell what somebody get ready to do before they do it.
But the Bible's a book of genealogy.
Excuse me?
The early books of the Bible are books of genealogies and family trees to say that's not my book. But let's just say, and I can't confirm this, if that book talked about your family tree, then it would be. Even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like it.
That book is talking about hate and wars and everything else. Because you know the fallen angels, we don't never hear anybody think about what they were. The fallen angels, that's who's walking down on this earth today. That's why there's no peace.
Well, let me put it like this.
If there was peace, you wouldn't have to have laws in order for people to do right. So if they were right in the first place, you don't need laws. Would you?
You said you wouldn't need laws if what?
Laws to protect people. So if people were doing right,
but they
you wouldn't
don't.
have to have laws. Because it would be
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is that we need laws then?
Because of the fallen angels out of that book he talks about, the fallen angels that were thrown out of heaven.
And who are those fallen?
On this earth today.
Ah, exactly. And who are those fallen?
I don't know who they are. All of them that act the same. They want to see where they want to control people, tell them what to do, how to live, and what they need to have.
Yeah,
and how much
fair enough. Angry people. Listen, Mace.
We the people don't think like that.
Well, you brought up an interesting thing, though, and I wanted to add something to it because you're saying, I don't understand how, I feel like a part of you is being maybe a little facetious, but tell me what you think. I'll put it like this, because you're saying, I don't know when David thought that he just found out he was allowed to be white. I don't understand. He could always be white, but aren't you being a little unfair there? Because
no, I'm not.
Because hold on, let me explain how. Let me explain why, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
You tell me what you think. This is how I saw it. Because although I wasn't saying it nasty, I was just saying, no other person in the world should make you feel like less than, or you know what I mean, like you're under them. So I thought I too shared an interesting thought on when he said, now we're allowed to be white. But aren't you acting a little facetious because you know what he's talking about, Maze? You know,
I know what he's talking about. He did like his ancestors to be like them.
And what is he? Wait. Let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. What is he talking? What was he talking about?
Well, he know what he was talking about.
And you said you know. What is this knowing? Describe this knowing.
I said he's not in control of nothing.
No. That's not what I mean. Here, let me explain. He said, now we're allowed to be white. You're acting like you don't know that white people get blamed for everything.
No,
that they get the moment you talk about Maze, you talk about blacks being represented, and you care about how that blacks get represented correctly.
That's not what I'm talking about.
You called my show about this, but the moment a white person tries to represent themselves in a certain way, that this is white people or whatever, they got called racist. They get shut down. You saw those white people at the DNC. They got to sit there and raise their hands, even though part of them loves it. They love lies. They got to sit there and raise their hands to the hostage situation with these black people calling them racist. You're telling me you're going to pretend like you don't know all that?
Really? As I said, a lie will travel. The truth will stand alone. I'm telling you. And the
Answer what I said.
Is it like we are cursed? You say, black people are cursed. I don't think
I didn't say that.
Who said it?
I don't know. I think like, I don't know. Other people.
That's what I'm saying. So he said that it's good to be white again because we're in control. What is he in control of? Nothing. What's in control is the money that you can spend.
But you're going off on another thing.
You don't have none.
Are you going to pretend like you didn't
He's a broke
know?
man.
Before you go on to something else,
No,
I'm going to. No.
2 seconds, and I'll explain to you.
And I would love for you to explain, but first, I had already brought up something first.
All right.
Will you, yes or no, Maze, pretend like you don't know about the things that David from Ocala was describing?
Himself. Because he said it was good. He was saying, well, he was happy to be white again. What is he being before? And then he complained about one black man.
But the reason he said that, it was...
He's the one complaining. Because he complained about, why couldn't he just been a president just like all the other ones and did what they did and leave? And that was it. They couldn't even respect Jimmy Carter, and he wasn't even a black man.
What's that have to do with what's that have to do with what I brought up, though, and what David is talking about?
What I just said. Dave Ocala came up with this mess that they in control. He's not in control of nothing.
Right, that's the problem.
He's a broke man walking around here trying to act like he's in control, just like the richest white man is. He's the poorest white man.
Right, and broke black people are in control just because they're black.
He don't know it, and he complaining against somebody else. He's out here complaining for what reason? He don't even know.
So you still won't tell me if you're going to ignore the facts that I brought up on what, because David wasn't saying that he forgot how to be white. He was simply trying to make an expression about how hateful blacks and others who support them in government are, and in general culture. He's just really describing that. Will you deny this? Maze, are you denying that blacks are hateful in this way?
No, they're not.
So blacks do not hate white people?
I didn't say that. And white people do hate black people, though.
But that's
the thing they have done to them.
You're bringing
black
something
people
else
have never done anything to them. They ain't blown up their communities. They haven't taken anything away from them. They haven't realized them. They don't do stuff like that because they can't get the opportunity to do their own business. They got to always think that they got to go to their pocket to get it, but they don't. Just like I say, we feed them. They don't feed us, but they got the idea that they're feeding us. Like people like Clarence Thomas and Rick and people like that, that's who they pay and feed because all of us are not like that. We don't sell out for a penny.
Did you hear my commentary on blacks being cursed?
Did you understand what I just said?
I heard you. You said that
they... Not hear me. Did you understand what I just said?
I heard, and I understand that you're saying... I heard, and I understand that what you're saying...
Hold on.
Wait, you can't interrupt, Maze. I just let you talk. Now it's my turn. One at a time. I'm learning too, Maze. I'm actually learning too. I'm not interrupting and slowing down. So what do you think, Maze? What do you guys think, Chad? I think I'm doing okay. One at a time, Maze. My turn. I was saying, what do you think? Oh, let me respond to you. Yes, I do understand that you're trying to say that blacks weren't given stuff like others, and because they weren't given stuff, they don't have boots to pull themselves up with, which I think is silly. But let me. We can add to the conversation what I want to bring up. Say again.
They had, and it was taken away from them. Taken away from them from different places in this country.
Yep, it's been done to everybody.
And if you don't give people back what they had and put them back on the same road they was on, what are they going to do?
Let me ask you this before, because I wanted to ask you what you thought. You brought up the cursed blacks and all that. I'm wondering if you even heard what I said about it.
What did you say?
Did you hear it all, what I said about it? And it sounds like you think I'm saying the blacks are cursed from the days of Ham. Is that what you think I said?
That's what 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 said. We cursed from the Ham, from the book that were written by who? If you believe that, you believe that. But I don't believe that.
So,
cursed people don't come up with the things that they have had the opportunity to survive on. Because if it wasn't for the man with
So
the
what
penis,
is
they'd have
it?
starved
So
to death.
how come
I
all
guess
these other cultures? How
rich
come all
people
these
don't do
other
that.
peoples who've had stuff taken away from them, and all this? You know, they've had stuff taken away from them. Their country's oppressed and blah 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 blah.
That's what
And
who's
yet,
doing it.
yet they're doing fine. Look, what do you think about that, Maze? Because it's like you're saying that all this was taken away from blacks, but what about, for example, let me give you this.
Wasn't taken away
Let
from
me give you
Bob.
this for an example.
Wasn't taken away
How many
Bob.
generations of blacks have been in America? Generations, right? Like generations.
Yes,
And
they
then
have.
in one generation, an immigrant comes to this country and is already way better off than everybody. Like, what do you say about that? What do you think about that? Like,
Because
what is your
maybe
response
they
to
just
such
like
a thing?
Some of them.
Huh?
They get a pass too.
Oh, wait, what's this pass?
So
Help
just
me
like you from
describe
Canada.
this pass.
You from Canada? Could I go over to your country and do the same thing you doing over here?
Most likely, yes.
I probably would in some other country get better treatment than I would here, or get a better opportunity to start my business somewhere else, like a lot of black people have done. Went to other countries and made it and came back here. So if you don't know
What's the answer
going
to
on,
what I asked, though?
and worry about the black person doing something to you, we don't harm people because we don't start wars.
So what's the answer to what
we
I
don't
asked
take
you,
people
though?
land, and this is 2025 and still doing it.
So what's the
In the
answer
name of
to?
Jesus.
No answer to what I asked you? No answer?
No.
Understood. Maze.
That's what I say. When I hear people from 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒎 walk with his head up, I'm going to walk mine up, who I am. And I ain't going to deny who I am or wherever, but I don't need nobody to tell me how to live my life and what to do.
Fair enough,
Not
Maze.
Clarence Thomas, and I'm not for sale.
I don't disagree with that. Let me
Not
Let me ask you one
I'm
last
not
thing,
for
though.
sale. People for sale do
Without-
stuff like that.
You know,
I'm not selling my soul for a penny.
and you know what? You know what?
Are you going to sell yours for a penny?
No, and you know what, Maze? On things
sell
we
your
can
country out
agree.
for a penny?
On common sense things we can agree. I
common
wanted to
sense?
ask you something about that, though. Hold on. On this, let me ask you just a general question. Take any individual, whatever race, doesn't matter. Would their lives be better or worse? Should they blame somebody
But
else for their
people
problems?
that's blaming are the ones that problem.
Let's not talk about blacks or anybody. Just
didn't say nobody.
anybody. Just any
If they were-
individual,
if they were more like
no
Jim
matter
Carter.
what race, no matter what history, whether they were slaves or not, whether they were raped or slaves, or whether they had a white upbringing and they were kings. Doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter anybody. Take literally anybody in the world. Maze, what is your answer? Take anybody in the world, what would they live a better life if they were blaming or not?
Yes, they would live a better life if they were blaming, but you sit back and what do you mean? What do you call blaming? Explain that.
Everything
But they complain
everything
about
you've
the
said
things
in this
happening to
call.
them,
Everything
but the
you've
things
said
that's
in this
their way.
call. Everything you've said in this call.
I'm saying in that way, if you move people out the way, it's just like I say, why did they come up with laws? So people shouldn't have to have the blame, because if the laws was perfect, if the Constitution was perfect, everybody would have happiness.
But again, you're
You don't
missing
have
the
one group of people sitting
you're
up and
missing the point.
tell another group
You're
what to
missing
do.
the premise,
They
Maze.
just as dumb
Maze. You're
What?
missing the
What?
point. You've already added to
Point.
my question. I said
did.
you've already
I gave you
added
an
to it. Because I said, doesn't matter their history, doesn't matter if they
I
were
just-
oppressed, doesn't matter if they were cheated or enslaved, or let's add what you just said, or if they lived in a country where the laws weren't exactly perfect and blah blah blah. Would that person be better off in their lives if they blamed, or if they let go of blaming?
If they let go of blaming.
Thanks, Maze. Appreciate it.
If they let go of blaming.
Right on.
People don't even know what blaming is. You think
It's
blaming
this
is
whole
one
call.
thing,
I
and
think
see it
I
as
think
a
your
different
whole
thing.
call was blaming.
No. Whose
I gotta
call?
say, your whole call is blaming somebody else.
No. You all blame people for things that is done to them, and then you don't want to deal with it. That's what you make blame. That's what y'all call blame. What I call blame is you blaming something for somebody that they didn't do when they didn't do something, and they did, and you blame them, and then you find out they didn't do it. Then you got to apologize. That's what you do. Apologize for blaming when you're wrong. And you
Maze.
don't run from your history. You stand with it and deal with it.
Are you talking about
Whether
me,
it's
Maze?
good or bad.
Are you sure you're talking about me? Who am I blaming?
Not you. I'm not saying you or not anybody that think that way.
Oh, because you said y'all or something like that.
Well, I'm saying anybody that think
I'm
that
like,
way.
who's she talking about?
That's
Are you
when
talking
you
about
blame
me?
somebody
Who am I
for
blaming? If I'm blaming somebody, I want you to call me out right now.
No.
Call
you,
me
when
out
you
right
blame
now.
people for things that they didn't
I
do.
deserve it. Maze, call me out right now. Who am I blaming? If I'm blaming somebody else,
You blame. Who are you blaming?
yeah, if you think that. If you don't think that, let's move on.
You won't admit if you was anyway. So
now you're judging me. Now you know my Maze.
This blame thing.
Don't treat me like that. How are you gonna treat me? How are you gonna pretend like you know my heart? Why not just ask? Why not just, hey, Nick, you know what? I think this is who you're blaming, and then let the chips fall where they may. If I deny it, then I deny it. But why won't you show me love and tell me the truth?
Deny when you come at blame, because if you say Nick ran, if I went and said Nick ran into that building, no, you didn't run into the building, but I sat there and lied and said you did. And then the proof came that you didn't run into that building. That's what blame is. So I don't know what y'all confused about. People confused about when you talk about blame. Because they blame the government. They blame everything every day.
I'm going to have to smoke on this, Maze.
So they need to smoke it and stop it. So find the truth, and it'll carry you a long way. So, Dave, I'm so glad that you're so happy to be who you are, and so am I. But don't come telling me nothing about no ham in the Bible, because that's what messed up a whole lot of people.
Can you at least understand, David, a little bit when you look upon the valleys, when you look upon the lands of the blacks, it don't look too good.
What you mean?
What do you think I mean? It looks like hate, blame, victimhood. It looks like hell.
Yeah, that's what come out of the mouth.
Looks like hell. Looks like crime. Looks like killing. Look, what do you mean?
You tell me I'm a criminal, but you're a big
I didn't say you.
Really, and I'm supposed to take that.
I didn't say you.
I'm saying.
I said the lands of the blacks.
You try to tell me that the blacks are bigger criminals and you're a bigger criminal than the blacks are. Really?
What's your proof?
What's my proof? What is my proof?
Yeah.
The same people that went up there on
Crickets.
January 6th, the same people that went up there on January 6th and tore that place up, trying to overthrow the government.
We're talking about me. Maze, you got to...
Yeah, on the street free, y'all, except the one that got killed, that dead.
How about you take a minute? How about you take a day or two?
Well, that's not a blame. That's the truth.
How about you take a day or two to think this call over? Because we were talking about me. Now you want to go somewhere else. You know what, man? You're going to have to call me back.
You need to take a week to think over what you're saying.
How about you? You take 2 weeks. You take 2.
I'm glad he realized who he is, but he don't have no power.
Oh, yeah? You take 2 weeks.
What do you say? He don't have any power.
What will you take 2 weeks? You need 2 weeks.
Tell him going and walking down the street, he don't have no power because he don't have nothing to have no power with.
She got
Unless he got some money. If you don't have no money, that's why Elon Musk is running y'all country for you.
Nice.
Have a good one.
Maze, call me again.
Yeah.
I love Maze. 888-775-3773. Isn't that kind of proof, though, that you don't need to be cursed by ham? You just need to talk like Maze and then have, like, Maze raise you. And then, like, someone like, you understand me, Maze, right? Just spiritually. I love you, Maze. Or someone's like, Maze's spirit raise you, and then it just goes on and on and on. Talk about curse. Talk about real curses. How about that? Talk about real visceral curse that I can describe and lay out for you. And it's not like incantations. It's like real. It's not like words. It's like, look, it started here, this generation, and she was mad, and she passed it down, then she passed it down. And they blame, that's all I got to say about that. Can we get into this real quick? Now, we won't spend too much time on this, but they're saying, this is the whole RFK Jr. getting picked to be Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, okay? They're saying he's a controversial nominee. Pardon. They're saying he's a controversial nominee and all that, You saw him get grilled by some no good people telling him, do you believe in the onesies? Do you support the onesies? And then Bernie Sanders gets skinned on live TV, metaphorically speaking, by RFK Jr. when he dared to act like an equal to these and look up. He's looking up at them, right? He's sitting down, he's looking up at them, and these people up there, they're like, do you support the onesies? You said this yesterday. You said this time at this hour, this time, and you were feeling like this, and you were looking up at the east when you said it. What does it mean? And he's looking up at them, and he dares to tell them, hey, every single person on this panel gets money from Big Pharma. You want to talk to me about morality, allegiances, or whatever? Let's talk about the money you guys are getting from Big Pharma to push all this stuff. So I thought that was an amazing moment, especially because you just never see it in Congress. I personally have never seen it. I mentioned it on my show. Jesse comes up to me, tells me he's never seen it. But I've never seen that. You know, you see them in Congress getting grilled. It's like it's a hearing. They call it a hearing, and it's just super serious. And they respond. It's like they never see that. I thought it was great. They're saying RFK Jr. scrapes through to the next stage of confirmation after Trump's last-ditch plea. What was that plea? It's an interesting one. Now, we'll get to calls after this. Appreciate you holding, 888-775-3773. Got some beautiful super chats to get to as well. Some from yesterday. RFK Kennedy, former Democrat, as you're aware, his controversies and his being picked. Do you support vaccines or not? Etc. He's apparently scraped through to the next stage. I'd like to see him get confirmed personally. I think he's an interesting guy, honestly. Interesting guy, even on the vaccine stuff. Take this in for a minute. If you look at the statements and stuff, I can gather, and I think an honest person would gather this. I'll hold on being more definite with my claim until I am more sure, I guess. But, you know, just some of the statements I'm remembering. I can't read them right now. That's why I'm keeping it a little bit, some space there. But from the statements I remember, I think an honest person can gather RFK wasn't against vaccines. He's against the methodology behind some vaccines in the modern era, and he's just he doesn't consider, from what I gather, that some of these vaccines were created with like the scientific method and only health in mind, that some ulterior motives got these things pushed through, and the culture behind vaccinating and all that has gone too far. So he's, from the statements I gather, it sounded like a pretty level-headed approach from someone who's ignorant on these things. I would hope that the person in charge of this stuff, how do I put this, would put like that as his priority, safety, you know, even if it's like controversial. Is it kooky and off the deep end? Well, from the statements I read, it sounds like he's fine with vaccines. He just wants them to be safe, and he believes some of them are not. And he says he has proof of that and evidence. And like, so that's the deal with RFK. I like him. So I personally, he's picked by Trump. I like his style. Seems like the right guy. So anyways, every Republican voted in favor of advancing his nomination, which he needed. He needed every single Republican. Every single Democrat voted against. And so here is the plea, Donald Trump's plea. They're saying, Daily Mail calls it a plea. And it comes down to Senator Bill Cassidy, who's a physician. Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor, a physician. Oh, what the? Sorry, folks. I'm a little distracted because something is supposed to be communicating between this computer and this other thing, and it's just not. Bill! Okay, we got it working. Boom. It's the little device that lets me do that. And this is the other Bill, Bill Cassidy. Not our Bill. And he's saying he had major concerns with Kennedy's ever-changing position on vaccines, okay? And it appears, Daily Mail says, although they called it a plea, this is what they wrote. It appears Trump and his MAGA allies successfully pressured the senator to back Kennedy, getting him over the procedural hurdle. Trump made a last-ditch plea to Cassidy in a Truth Social post ahead of the vote. And I'm going to read the text here, but it seems short. Unless there's more text to this that Daily Mail is not showing here, it doesn't seem like this was at least not overtly directed to Bill Cassidy, but it might have been, considering he was the only Republican that had concerns over this confirmation, and they were going to need every single Republican on board. So Trump wrote on Truth Social, 20 years ago, autism in children was 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 34. I read that. It's the first time I read that. First time I heard any kind of factoid like that when I saw Trump write that on Truth Social. I've never seen such a thing. And, you know, in my mind, I already came up with my own theories. Do I know? But I'm thinking, I bet you part of that is over what they call, what people in the industry would describe as them simply being able to identify such a disease or such a condition more accurately. We're just better at finding it. So it was probably always 1 in 34. We're just better. You know, that's the thinking of some. Or at least it's closer to 1 in 34. It was always closer to 1 in 34. But now we have the methodology and technology to correctly identify it. That's what they say about ADD, ADHD, depression. That's what they say about all sorts of a litany of mental disorders. They say their prevalence has skyrocketed ever since the creation of these drugs and the identification of it in the DSM. They call it the DSM. That's the DSM-5 or even 6 maybe. The diagnostic, it's like a diagnostic manual to diagnose people with mental problems. And it's just been, it's just exploded in incidence ever since to a exponential level. You're like, a smart person might look at that and think, maybe we didn't fix it. You know, maybe the drugs, You're telling me drugs were created and we're looking at the timeline and proper medication and treatment therapies were created here. And then I follow the graph and the number of people getting sick is going like this. Maybe it's not working. You know, maybe someone might think that, but the medical industry would just tell them, we just simply can identify it better now. So I bet you some of that, they're saying, first time I ever read this, Truth Social, Trump saying it's 1 in 34. That's incredible. From 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 34 is incredible. He says something is really wrong. We need Bobby. He's talking about RFK Jr. He says, thank you, DJT. Donald John Trump. And I'm not familiar with what RFK may say, if he does say anything about vaccines or autism or anything like that. But an interesting Truth Social post, don't you think? 1 in 34, I had no clue. So I wonder how much, also, if I may, I'm remembering now. For example, I'm even remembering a conversation earlier on the JLP show. She's a nice lady. She calls in, and she's talking a little bit about autism, I believe. And it's interesting because she goes on to describe the problems her son has. And she ends up, she's called before and has described this before. She's described her son's, whatever, it may not be autism, but I think it's autism or some kind of mental thing. She's described it before. But this time was interesting because this time she called in and she had discovered something new. She had discovered something new about herself. She was like, turns out I have ADHD. And I could be misremembering the call. Maybe she always had it. But if I'm remembering correctly, she had recently discovered this. And they were talking about ADHD and mental stuff. And she describes how probably that she describes what ADHD is, for example, and how you can identify it in some young children. She describes how a young girl twirling her hair and being distracted is a sign of ADHD. And if you're, if you made the face I just made, you know, you feel like I do. You reacted to that information the way I did. Should we watch how we react and how our face contorts to information we hear? Yes. Don't judge when your actions and your gestures and your thoughts. Come on, let's do our homework. That being said, you may have reacted to that info like I did. You're telling me a little hair twirling and distraction, you know, maybe it's a significant amount of hair twirling and distraction, but you want to say that that's ADHD? It's like this mental thing and this maybe even physiological thing where you got to give them speed, amphetamines, Adderall, and all these medications to fix them. Like something's not making sense to me. Something is not making sense. It reminds me of my impression of the medical industry. They look at symptoms and all that. I gather, honestly, I conclude from this that there probably is something, some sort of tism. You understand? Like, and if you see some cases, it's pretty severe intellectual disabilities, severe speech disabilities. But that's a very small subset. Then there's a whole bunch of people who are just like weird, I guess, awkward. They're weird, awkward, can't make friends. They are hyper. And it's like, thinking about the industry and all and blah, blah, blah. I think that I'm not too far off in my thinking that maybe the way autism is viewed is a little skewed, a little wrong. I don't think I'm off. And I'm no doctor, but I don't think I'm off in saying that when you take in the culture behind medicine, the mama, feminine, raising in the homes, they deal with they're on the back foot dealing with symptoms. You realize I don't think I'm off base in saying what I'm saying here. Even if the whole medical community would disagree, you know? So what else did I want to say about this? Trump, RFK, yeah. I feel like I was something else, but I can't remember. What else? Let me get to calls. I do want to get to calls, 888-775-3773. I was struck by an image that was going around. You guys remember the midwit meme? I've explained this one to you. But it goes like this, basically. It's usually an image of an IQ curve. And the way IQ is distributed in the population, I think, of the world, is that there's most people fall in like this average middle of IQ. Not too low, not too high. The vast majority, that's just a very large amount of people, their IQ falls here. And you know, in the extremes of both ends of low and high IQ, there's a lot less. And if you were to make a graph showing the amount of people in each cohort or in each level of IQ, whatever, the graph would look like this. It would look like a bell, an upside down bell maybe or whatever. It would be a bell like this. Most people are in the middle, a lot less are in the extremes. I've explained this meme to you before, where now I'm killing the joke, basically. Like, you get it, right? Like, there's a meme format that goes around that tries to describe this distribution of IQ, and there's something about the extremely low and extremely high IQ. They always end up like interestingly agreeing. And it's only the midwits, as they're called, the middle of the IQ, where they're just smart enough to make up a bunch of stuff and read a bunch of stuff. They end up smarting themselves into something really dumb. It's like girl have long hair, boy have short hair. Duh. And then you get to like the middle of IQ. You're a little bit of an academic. You went to school. It's like, actually, hair length is actually a social construct, and it's actually blah, blah, blah. But then you get to the geniuses or PhDs or whatever, and they look at the argument and they're like, girls have long hair, boys have short hair. Duh. I hope that explains the meme for you a bit. Here's one for you. Vaccine hesitancy in the U.S. by education level. Now I'll let you well, I'll explain the graph for you, but basically you're seeing one of those IQ distribution graphs, and you're also seeing the bar graph explains vaccine hesitancy. So for the people that have a high school education or less, they're quite hesitant they were very hesitant about COVID. But in general, they're hesitant. Those with some college, you get to the bachelor's and the master's degrees, and they're like, yeah, no, it's like it's safe and effective. They're repeating all the things. Trust me, they're repeating all the phrases, all the words. What did CNN say? And that's also probably why they're, let me move on. And then the graph starts going back the other way. You go way higher up in education level, your vaccine hesitancy starts going back up. You start having some questions. You're like, you start getting a little smarter. You're like, wait a second, something's not right here. And I wonder if RFK is just having those similar questions. It's not a denial of vaccine. Like, I wonder what RFK would say to what I'm about to say, but I get the impression he might agree with me on this. That vaccines were they're obviously a pillar of population. At one point, we were unable to sustain this much population in the cities of the world, but thanks to some developments like vaccines, now we can do this. It's like, am I being crazy? I don't think that's crazy to think, and I bet you RFK would agree. And then he would maybe say something else like, but something changed and blah. He has his own opinion and thoughts on this, so that's my impression. So there's vaccine. What else on this? Let's move on. I got calls here. I want to get to Justin out of California. I appreciate your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. How are you?
All is well. No complaints here.
That's right. So I was just curious. I'm not sure if the screener told you how I feel about Bukele in El Salvador welcoming the criminals that America needs to have housed, and it costs money, and outsourcing it. I think it's a great idea. How do you think that is going to play out?
I'm familiar with it a little. It's on the list. We're going to get to it later. I'm glad you brought it up, though.
Okay.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was quite an interesting thing. And what Justin is talking about here, folks, is they're calling it a migrant deal. Whatever. The point is, Trump made, and Marco Rubio's involved, right? And you will tell me more about that, hopefully.
The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
Made a deal with the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. You've seen the videos. You've seen all those cartel people with the tattoos all lined up and put in prison, and all this talk about really bringing down the crime rate. You've seen it. There's a deal to send some of the worst, even if they're citizens, down to El Salvador. What do you think about that?
Well, I think legally there's going to be some challenges if you're an actual citizen. But if you're a resident, that's not a foreign national, but someone who's actually became a resident of the country. If you registered, you're good. But if you're good for the time being. But you're the first to go. And I think American citizens should be the very last. I think the people that are the most vicious and the most like in El Salvador, they don't take too kind to criminals.
Yeah.
In America, they do. And I think there's a time where a super prison that Bukele created so that people can have housed for the rest of their life. And that's a great thing to just take off the streets.
I love it, man. I think it's fine, because society, even if the world is evil and the hearts are wicked, us down here in this wicked world, we have these things. We have cities and societies. We're trying our best, right? And guess what? Society and civilization, so to speak, it's really for those that want to be part of it. If I can put it simply, and I'm not absolving America's systems and ways, like they also don't have a dark and dead heart, but look, there's some people who have made their decision. Society and civility is for those that want it. If they don't want it, they shouldn't be here. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as we don't have a death penalty, we got to have another way of removal from society. I think it's fine. You want to keep the American citizens? Don't extradite American citizens. If you want me to vote for that, we got to bring back the death penalty.
Yeah, because by housing them, that creates a limbo, and it costs taxpayers money to house criminals that are not repentant.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And if they're going to be the same way, and whatever, psychologically or whatever they deem someone reformed, if they just don't change their way, by housing them, they're just elongating somebody's it's like in limbo. So
right.
if somebody commits a crime of death, they deserve death. That's called justice.
Yep.
I've always felt that way. I've never changed that opinion. If I kill you, cold blood, you kill me, that's not injustice, that is justice. If there's criminals that equate to a super prison, that's where they designate them, great. But the people going to Guantanamo, that's another designation. And everybody's going to go to their place. But because of what happened to people like in January 6th, I don't think these type of criminals are ever going to be housed in our country. It's going to be outsourced.
Fair enough, man. Appreciate your commentary on this. And I have no problem with it, man.
Me neither.
And it's like finally someone strong, like someone tough enough to do the hard thing.
It's not that hard. You just have to have conviction. And it looks like it took a person from another country in El Salvador to reap the benefits of having peace in their country to attract America to finally lay the law down. And when you do something like that, the prosperity of the people, it doesn't devolve. It only improves. So I think the type of people that will be coming to this place will feel safe and secure, and will be having families that thrive. Yeah.
I'm glad you made that comment, man, because it's one of those things that's hard to quantify and really measure the unmeasured effects of just the overarching culture you're talking about. Because you can show me numbers of how much money an industry lost or how many DEI people are in a country or in a business, but you can't the immeasurable part. I can't English. The immeasurable part is, for example, there's people saying Trump was wrong for saying DEI may have been at fault for the plane crash and all that, right? It's like, show me the proof. Okay. Show me the proof that the person hired was DEI. I was thinking, you don't even have to show me. Because let's say they show me tomorrow that they show me that they were the best trained white people, blah, blah. I would still say DEI has had an immeasurable effect on people, of bringing down standards from all across the board.
Yeah, I mean it's great to have the idea of being inclusive and all that, but the ultimate result is they have an outdated software program, stressed, like understaffed agencies, and they don't value humans. So instead, they just think they want to value a perception that their inclusiveness brings more safety and security, whereas Biden, 15 years, we had no problem. But Biden didn't improve the situation. Buttigieg, the Department of Secretary of Transportation, didn't improve the situation for a lot of things like trains, et cetera. So I don't think our country's safer or less safe because Trump just took power. It just reveals that there are things that are very antiquated and outdated, and they need to be upgraded based on merit and sustainability. Yeah, we don't want to see this thing ever happen again if these planes keep crashing.
Fair enough, Justin. Appreciate your commentary on that. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
No, Trump 2025. Let's go.
Let's go. You said it. You said it. You spoke it into reality. Take care, Justin. Call me again.
All right. Thank you.
888-775-3773. Let's show some love to the Super Chats who've been loving me even from yesterday where I wasn't even live. I'm so glad I didn't delete the stream. I think it gets rid of that last time that happened. So let me please shout out, before I even shout out any of the Super Chatters. Y'all thought you Super Chatted me first, Lord Spike Protein? The one and only, the baller extraordinaire, Lord Spike Protein? You thought you Super Chatted me first? I know. I wish I could give that to you too, but it's actually Liesel. Can you call this a Super Chat? I don't know. We're going to call it that though. Liesel, shout out Liesel. I got it. Let me tell you, the birdie has, I'll say this in code. The eagle has landed, Liesel. The eagle has landed on my desk, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you for that, Liesel. And thanks for listening. Lord Spike Protein, though, with a big Super Chat from yesterday. A little guy with a little robo guy with energy straight from God. Thank you, Lord Spike Protein. Always appreciative of your support. And of course, Gawain's the Gawain's Realm saying #blue, #square, #𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. What are you talking about? #lube for shoulders. Gawain's Realm. Are you working on them shoulders? Are you trying to get them boulder shoulders? Gawain's Realm. Thank you for your super chats and all the support. #blue square. Are you talking about the Stop Anti-Semitism Foundation? You're making me chuckle. But thank you for your support, John Gawain's Realm. Baldman54 with a super chat says, shout out to Nick for being accurate on the played a role part of the question. Racism and misogyny definitely played a role, 100% without a doubt. That is sad, Baldman54. But thanks, yeah. Thanks for, appreciating the accuracy. I mean, it's only fair. That's what they were asked. They were asked if it played a role. But that's all I was being accurate on. If you want to now sit on some flimsy, shallow argument of it was misogyny and racism, even if it was just a role, you will never understand why Kamala lost. You will never understand why things are going on, why things are happening the way they are. If you really think even if it played a part, then you don't understand how life works. Racism, misogyny definitely played a role. Because let's say for a second that people, let's say for a moment here, because this isn't even that huge of a part. And if you put all your attention on her being a woman and her being black as the reasons why she lost, you really would be missing a lot. You'd be missing a huge point. How the Americans really feel, why they voted for Trump. It's more than just being a woman and black. and let's say I even say that it is because she's a woman and black a little bit. That's not racism and it's not misogyny. And it would be a fine reason for someone not to vote for her. If their only reason to not vote for Kamala was because she was a woman, that's a fine reason. You don't have. I thought this was America. Aren't you supposed to wait? How does voting work? Who you vote for the one you like, who represents you or whatever. You vote for the right person, and there's a lot of people who believe the woman is not the right person. Why are they wrong in thinking that? They're allowed to think such a thing. And I concur. What else about this? Thanks for your super chat, Ballman54. AB is on fire, says John Zimmer with a very, very generous super chat. What the? Look at me go, mama. They're super chatting me like crazy, mama. Look at me go. Look at me go, ma. No hands. Thank you for the support, y'all. This is so generous. John Zimmer says AB is on fire. Them hate-filled lots are sure silly. With a thumbs up. John Zimmer, always appreciate seeing you in the chat. What's up, DJ T 2020 706-145, and all the people watching on Rumble and DLive.tv/Gorgonzola. What the? Look at me, ma. No hands. All right, let's keep going. This is incredible. Let's see here. Shall we keep it up? Let's go to the next thing, because what do I want to do here in the last few minutes? I think I want to keep... what I want to do. Let's keep some of these stories for tomorrow. Here's what we'll do. Do me a favor, though, viewers, my audience. So I made a mention of the midwit meme and the IQ curve and the vaccines and how the dumbest and the smartest agree. Remember that when we get into a story tomorrow, because a part of me almost breaks. These stories were supposed to go right after each other. You understand? You guys know how I like thematic, and it's like I'm like, a part of me is almost breaking that I'm doing this, but it's just not enough time. Please remember the theme. All right, let's do some overflow stories in the last few minutes of the show. We were just talking about the Salvadoran migrant deal. Would you like some deets? Real quick deets before I show you an amazing clip with Tom Homan. because they're saying American criminals currently in U.S. jails and accept deportees of any nationality. El Salvador has offered to house these violent American criminals currently in the U.S. jails and accept deportees of any nationality, locking them up in the country's hell-on-earth mega prison. So U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said President Nayib Bukele had agreed to the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world. And, I read that too, and I thought it wasn't necessary. I could be wrong here, but it doesn't seem totally superfluous. Or, I don't think he's playing too much. Like, it seems pretty crazy. Citizens of the country, you're going to send them there? And like I said earlier, I don't see any problem with it, personally. I can agree with, like, a different approach, though. Like, the citizens are last, and we make it difficult. But I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to the smart guys. Leave it up to Trump and Trump's people. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. Just do the right thing, fellas. Trying to keep law and order, you know what I'm saying? So they're pushing ahead with this. And they're not taking, they're not taking no. You're going to El Salvador. Okay? And if you're housing, if you're caught harboring illegals, Tom Homan's going to come find you. He's going to come find you, and he's going to put you in jail. He's going to prosecute you with the powers given to him by the law. You don't believe me? There's some talk, basically, about this New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy. And they're saying that he's basically saying he's going to protect illegals from Trump and all this, suggesting even to harbor them in his home. Tom Homan ain't too happy about it. New borders are. Wait, is there? How do you get audio on this thing? The borders are, you've seen him go around kicking butt, taking names, as they say. He's like, you really going to do that?
I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it. Won't let it go. We'll look into it. And if he's knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, that's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that.
What's that movie? Awesome, Tom Homan. All right, go ahead. He's like, that was not smart that he said that, because I made a note of it, and I'm not letting it go. What's that movie? It's got, okay, geez, someone just told me the name of this actor the other day. Is it Christoph Waltz? Yes, Austrian-German actor, Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz. Right? Christoph Waltz. You saw him play. You saw him play a number of things, right? He was in Inglourious Bastards. He was in Django. And what's that scene? What's that one movie? I think it's Inglourious Bastards. And it's Christoph Waltz. And he's talking about, what's he doing? He's like, you are harboring enemies of the state. Right? Wait, hold on. And he's like, you are sheltering enemies of the states, as you not? Yeah, because he's playing a Nazi. He's playing a Nazi in Inglourious Bastards. And, I heard that some Germans or whatever, they were harboring enemies of the state, which were, I heard they were Jews and others at the time, not just gypsies. People are enemies of the state, okay? And they were like, you may have heard of it, maybe like Anne Frank. I heard about that story, Anne Frank, which I heard was not true. Well, I don't know. But Anne Frank, I heard the dad came out and said it was not true or something. But the point is, Anne Frank, that people harbored Jews and harbored people during this time, right? That's what this scene is depicting. You are sheltering enemies of the state. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me see here. Hold on. This is what sheltering enemies of the state. Okay, this is the same scene, but sheltering illegals and ISIS, and Christoph Waltz is playing an ICE officer. Wait, hold on. Oh, man, I'm totally ruining. I'm bungling this. What's the part?
I might add also that any information that makes a performance of
Okay,
my duty
so that's him looking for Jews. This is him looking for Mexicans.
easier will not be met with punishment. Actually, quite the contrary. It will be met with reward.
Okay, the joke is that the Mexicans that are hiding underneath the floorboards can't keep their music. They can't help but play their music. They can't help but play their corridos. And they out there, Christoph, they're out there. ICE is looking for them. This kind man is trying to harbor the illegals, and they can't stop playing corridos in the background. It's like, bro, don't you know ICE is here? So, Inglourious Bastards, you get it. Tom Homan, not playing around.
And that
you are seltzering enemies, and we're gonna find out, says Tom Homan. Okay? That's the joke. And you love it. You're laughing. The joke is they're Mexican. That's the joke. The joke is they're Mexican. That's hilarious. Sorry, I'm reading my chat here. I'm talking to my chat. Okay, so let's see here. That's it there. Amazing. Tom Homan. What else here? Salvador migrants. Let's move this around so I don't use this tomorrow. We have definitely used those. This is why blats are the best comedians, LOL, says OJ Simp in my chat. Who's your favorite comedian? I gotta say, I think my fave, not that I know many, but I remember there was a time when I got into comedy a little bit. And I gotta say, Patrice O'Neal. Anybody remember him? That guy's funny. That guy was funny. Big guy. Rest in peace. I forget how old he got, but he didn't make it. He died. Very funny guy, though. Very funny man. It's funny that someone in the chat brought up the black comedians. I didn't even plan on playing this. I even wonder if I'm going to. Do I play this? Whatever. 2 minutes. Last 2 minutes of the show. Why not? Is it that deep? Is it that good? It's really just humorous. They say, this person who posted it says, no one understood white people better than Patrice O'Neal. And there is one aspect of this little bit he's doing on this radio thing that was pretty darn funny, and I think is him showing a little more love to whites than people would think. Trying to understand. You might take it as, I don't know, just like low-hanging fruit, just, I don't know, making fun of white people, but I don't know. I think I gotta say, Patrice in this clip, and I've seen him do it before, I don't think he's doing the run-of-the-mill white people, blah, blah, blah. I think every time he talked about really all people, blacks and otherwise, I think he tried his best to understand. It's my impression of his comedy. Tell me what you think. 2 minutes. I didn't want it to be this long. I think that really the part that I'm talking about is like a minute in. I don't want to hunt for it. Let's just play that beautiful footage.
He should be investigated and people should...
Oh, by the way, if I may, I almost forgot. This is Patrice O'Neal. So I'm not going to stop the clip if he swears. If he gets particularly vulgar, I'm going to skip. But be warned, it's Patrice O'Neal, and he can be quite vulgar. He's probably going to swear. I'm not going to stop it if he swears, but yeah.
He should be investigated and people should know, like black folks and any other should know how important Neil Young is as a artist to white people. And how important the song Creep is.
Oh my God. Anybody, hey, Creep, Radiohead? Is he right about this? Let me know.
Don't you say anything bad about that. The magic of this song Creep.
But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. If in case you didn't know, just so you know what song we're talking about.
I heard it. I'm like, oh, it's a good song. And then I seen videos, and it's mesmerizing to white people. They start floating. I'm a creep. I'm a loser.
There we go.
Dude.
It just comes on when you talk about it.
I'm telling you, 7 people just crashed into the bay just now. They pulled over to cry
what a
or
good song.
jump in the water.
It's like the sensitive side of white man.
But it's something about this song. It digs deep to this loserdom
that all white people have.
That white people have this innate thing
What do you think? Is that really run of the mill? Just we're making fun of white people. I don't know if I really heard comedians say that. This loser-dim. How do you put it? Weakness, right? Just white, nice, weak, which is evil. You know, for the people who called my show today and didn't like talking about black. You guys talk about blacks. If you watch my show and think that I focus on a race, like you're not watching. But anyways, it's not even about let's talk about all people. It's really that all people are going through the same thing. It's not about talk about all people equally. That's even shallow too. But everybody's going through the same. Anyways, is Patrice O'Neal got his finger on the pulse of what I'm talking about? No, not necessarily. But as a comedian, I thought he was humorous on this. Let me just let the clip play.
Feel bad. That's why they voted for Barack.
That's why they voted for Barack.
I'm a creep.
Yep.
I didn't own slaves, but I'm a weirdo.
He's so right.
And I'm gonna tell you the part too that I learned is very important to white folks. I'm telling you, I've been studying. I study, man. It's not this is this feels good. Yeah. I wish I was special. You're so effing special. That's whatever that little part is. That digs into white people's soul. That part, it does something to you. Look at him, he's crying. He's standing up straight. No name, I'm telling you, my show is not about trashing white folks. It's about understanding.
Yeah.
I think white people don't get enough understanding.
Yeah.
We need to understand.
That's why they voted for Barack. He's just so right. Like, stop it. Just stop it. I bet you Patrice would say to white people, stop it. Just stop it, man. Stop it. You don't have to play victim or be sad or think that your black people's problems are your problems or slavery or stop it. Just stop it. It's sad. It's not just sad, it's evil. It's just as evil as an angry black person. So
That was
shall we let this play last few seconds here?
Patrice O'Neal dissecting Radiohead's Creep.
Creep means, let me tell you something.
Okay, you guys go watch it on your own. I love Patrice O'Neal. Rest in peace. I thought he was always really funny. All right, y'all. And look at the I'm gonna assume you're black, OJ simp, because you're laughing too hard. You know what I mean? Like the second it's like Maze when I was saying like to David, he was saying like it's like now we're allowed to be white, and I'm like, David, you were always allowed to be white. You could hear, Maze said what I said, but she said it nasty. She said, like almost deriding him, like and discounting the true things that he was saying. It's like it's always been white since the Constitution. It's like, yeah, we're saying the same thing, but I didn't say it like you, Maze. That's how OJ Simp is laughing in my chat right now. I think you got a problem with white people, OJ Simp. I don't know your heart, but anyways. All right, y'all. That's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it from the anchor, baby. That's enough. Appreciate the super chats and all the calls. Let me do a little quick sweep. Make sure I didn't miss any coffees. buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. And all the super chats. Folks, I appreciate it always. Your support. I'll be back tomorrow for more American Anchor, baby. Wednesday already. We done squeezed every drop out of that show. All right, y'all? I'm out. Take care. See you tomorrow. Peace. And Lil Nick, too. He's got to say bye. Bye.